Hi there. Come up on the porch. We're just sitting here watching it rain and talking about Louisiana. I'm Bruce McGee, and I'm here today with Bruce Cruff. Welcome.
Thanks, Bruce.
I recently read an article you wrote about this restaurant, and I was so impressed I wanted to come eat at this restaurant. So why don't you tell us the name of the book and the article, and then tell us a little bit about the restaurant.
Sure. Well, the book, it's an edited collection. It's called Get It While It's Hot, and it is a collection of book chapters with regard to gas station, roadside, and convenience cuisine across the U.S. South. It's published by LSU Press. It came out in April of 2026, and I'm just really ecstatic to be a part of that. Shelley Ingram, a good friend of ours, of course, at ULL, was one of the editors of that collection, along with two other spectacular editors. And, we explored really gas station food. I mean, it's something we in the South are accustomed to, stopping off and get some great fried chicken, whatever it is, shrimp, even crawfish. But this is really a special place. And we're here in Hammond, USA today. Hammond, Louisiana, right off of I-12 on the highway to Ponchatoula, with two classic roundabouts right in front of us. South Louisiana's answer to traffic congestion in small towns, I guess.
And how did we end up with an Indian restaurant as road food in Hammond, Louisiana?
The interesting thing is this. It's called Punjabi Dhaba, and Punjab is a province in northern India. A dhaba is really an Indian word that means roadside cafe. And they began to crop up across the U.S. South as truckers, that is 18-wheeler drivers from India, began to populate our roadways here in the United States. And as I indicated in the article, what my research indicates is that almost 40% of the on-the-road drivers for 18-wheelers in the United States are of Indian extraction. I didn't either. I mean, that was a total surprise to me. But because of that, they were literally looking for a little taste of home. And so these places began to pop up.
This one's right next to a Pilot.
It's right next to the Pilot truck stop here. It's right next to a big Love's truck stop across the road. So, and it's on a major thoroughfare on I-12, which connects to I-10 and to I-55. So this is really a hub here for the trucking industry as well. And this has been here several years. It is in an old Best Stop convenience store, now relabeled the Icebox convenience store. They just never took the sign down.
Right.
But we've got a welcoming sort of Sikh on a metal sign there. Welcome to Punjabi Dhaba. And the food is great. They have a buffet every day for lunch, except on Tuesdays when they're closed. And then they have a very extensive menu service for the evening. They also have opened up recently what I'd call a fancy sit-down restaurant in Kenner, Louisiana.
Kenner, brah?
Yes, indeed.
I want to try that one, but I wanted to come to the mothership first.
This is the mothership, and the owners here actually purchased a couple of years ago the old, what used to be many years ago, the Holiday Inn here in Hammond, and they're going to turn it at some point into an Indian cultural center. There is a fairly large and growing Indian population here in southeast Louisiana. Of course, we're home to Southeastern Louisiana University here with almost 16,000 students, a lot of faculty, and I'm proud to be a faculty member there as well. So it draws a lot of people with Indian extraction to this part of southeast Louisiana. So it is growing, and it's something that they wanted to do. And that is in the works at some point in the future. It's about a mile that away.
We have a temple in Monroe. I'm not sure what.
Okay.
It may be Hindu, but anyway, they broadcast over Facebook, and sometimes I watch it just to.
That's pretty interesting. I mean, this is, as I refer to in my book chapter, it's really what I call an ethno-site, which in cultural studies or ethnography we would refer to as a place that has an exotic locale, if you will, where you can go and experience the exotic. And of course, I sound now like, some sort of Edward Said Orientalism lecture.
I remember when Rustin got a pizza shop, man.
Right,
we
it
were
was
so
a big deal.
excited.
And Hammond has really grown a lot. Hammond is no longer just the quintessential little college town. that it used to be a long time ago. It's now morphed into something a little bigger, and this is exciting. I mean, they've got some artifacts here. There is a Ford tractor here with some Brahmic script on it, which I don't know what the Brahmic script says, but it's really an homage to the agricultural industry in India. The Punjab province.
Some locals.
No, the Punjab province, of course, is known for agriculture. We have an old military Jeep. Inside, you're going to see an old Bullet motorcycle that's sitting in there, gleamed up to a showroom shine. And one of the owners, she explained to me, her father rode that type of motorcycle in the Indian Army right after India gained its independence from Great Britain in 1947.
Wow.
And so it's sort of an homage to her family history as well. And you can hear the belching 18-wheelers going past.
A lot of traffic. It's just been constant. So where do they get their ingredients? Like, do they have to order them?
It's locally sourced as much as they can, and then I'm sure they order. They do cook authentically, Northern Indian cuisine, so it is very authentic. The chefs are all Indian. The owners are Indian. And it's as authentic as you're going to get in Southeast Louisiana, or really anywhere in the United States, without hopping on a plane and flying halfway across the globe. So it's really authentic food. They have the same types of things in the buffet. They do some interesting things. They'll add a little bit some of the spices, as I'm told, are a little more spicy than you may get in India, only because in South Louisiana we're accustomed to a little bit of red pepper, a little bit of cayenne, and we tend to like that in our food. And so, they've dressed up some of the dishes to be a little spicier than perhaps you would normally see.
And when the menu says Indian hot, what does that mean?
It's just a different spice. I couldn't describe it. It's not hot in the sense of will light you up and blow your head off hot.
Right.
But it's a depth of flavor. It's certainly a heat with a depth of flavor in it. And I began eating here several years ago, and when Shelley and her friends approached me about doing a chapter for this book, I was so excited. I was like, I know exactly what I want to write on, because this place is perfect.
Crawfish stand up at AB, it's just right up the road.
Well, I mean,
there's this stuff all over.
There's probably 100 different places that could easily fit the bill of popular gas station cuisine that's good food. But what made this really unique is it was Indian food. And of course, we're here on a holiday weekend, Memorial Day weekend, so the traffic is not inside the restaurant what it would normally be. And Southeastern has just ended our semester, so you don't have the population of students and professors that you would normally have here. But we have a major hospital just down the road, about a mile, North Oaks Medical Center. You got the university about a mile up the road this way. And you get a lot of different type of people in here. I've been here for lunch, I've been here for dinner, I've been here on the weekends.
And as former students, we know how valuable all-you-can-eat buffets are.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Student diet.
And you see a mix of people. You see students, you see professors, you see hospital workers, nurses, doctors, you see truckers, you see people who are obviously Indian or Indian extraction. You see all walks of life. And what's interesting is it is the foodway experience that it creates this, what I call it in my chapter, a cultural synesthesia. Mm-hmm. It's a synesthesia of languages through food. It's a synesthesia of smells and tastes through food. And it really transports you to that place. And in a way it works like, of course, as English people, we're familiar with the old 19th century travel logs, right? And where you would be transported by reading something to this exotic island or this exotic land.
If you can't afford that trip to Tahiti or India,
exactly, you can do this.
But
and it's kind of that way still. And I think in foodways, particularly with the proliferation of restaurants that are, and I'll put this in scary quotes, of exotic food, it really takes us back to the old 19th century travel where we are transported to that place to experience that culture. And it's really a blending of cultures here, right around the Sneeze Bar, over the butter chicken, just let me tell you. So,
if you watch the Julia Child HBO series, she ends up calling it like a travel show. This is like France. in your home.
It is, and I think it's the same way here. And not just here, but any of the other places that we can mention that we fit the bill. And of course, a lot of those are mentioned in the book, Get It While It's Hot. And it's a wonderful collection, and I'll just suggest this. It's sort of this interesting combination of pop culture reading and an academic text, because it really goes both ways.
Talking about food, which everybody loves. So.
Everybody loves food, and it's got some wonderful, like Kears Doolin from Northwestern State has a wonderful memory story of a coffee shop with her grandfather. There are more academically oriented texts, there are interviews. Oh yeah,
I've eaten at the one at Northwestern. It's just I can't remember the name of the gas station, but they got the
right out there on Highway 6. Mm-hmm. Yeah, on Highway 6. Yes.
The meat pies. If Lassie House is closed, that's the backup place.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great. I've stopped there many times, and having a senior moment. I can't remember the name either, but I know exactly where it is on Highway 6 at I-49.
That's why we go to the Louisiana Studies conference every year.
The French Market. It's called the French Market.
Yeah.
Yeah, the French Market.
To hang out in Anchorage.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
Let's go on in.
We're going to go in and hit the buffet and hit it hard.
All right.
All right.
Okay, this is naan. It's kind of pita bread. This is basmati rice. It's really good. It's kind of the base of all these other dishes. Saag, fresh spinach, cooked curry with aromatic spices. And this is bread pokari. These are vegetable pokaris. Not sure which one. It's the same rice. This is paneer masala. Homemade cheese cooked with special spices, bell peppers, onions, and served in its own salt. Garlic mushroom. That one I understand. The zucchini aloo. Both of these last two have been really good. Butter chicken. Chicken curry.
Other side, all in the group.
Oh, great, thank you. Tandoori chicken. Get some more chicken over here. Chicken pakara. Chicken fritter made with grain, flour, mildly spiced. It's really good. Chicken curry. Traditional Indian curry prepared with special spices. And you can see it's running low because it is delicious. Some more butter chicken. Oh, we've got that on the other side. Dal makhana. And here's the dessert. Sweet hava, semolina seeds. Very delicious. It's kind of loose. Let's look at the other one. Here we have mint and tamarind sauces. Doesn't say what that is. Looks like orange sauce. Redka yogurt and veggies. Yeah, good stuff. This is salad. A lot of sliced up onions, and then our old friend cantaloupe, and some kind of peas, maybe garbanzo beans. I'm not sure. Chickpeas. And green jello.
One.
So here it is, Get It While It's Hot, gas station roadside Convenience Cuisine in the U.S. South. Gizzards and liver. I'm going to have to try that place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, if you live in the South, you've eaten plenty of gizzards and livers, or if you haven't, you should.
Yeah, right. They've been offered to you.
That's right, definitely offered to you. And I'll take anybody up on it. But yeah, I would encourage everybody, you know, go out and get a copy of LSU Press. It's a very easy read. It's a combination pop culture read and an academic read if you're so inclined.
But, footnotes, but you can...
Yeah, footnotes, but it's not overly burdensome. It's not like reading a big time scholarly article. You know, it takes a PhD to figure it out. And foodways, it's something that we are all accustomed to, and learning about culture through food. And This collection is as I understand it, the first edited collection to come out that really crosses that bridge between a real scholarly collection and a pop culture collection. So it's a really bridges that gap that existed in our Southern literature, and so I think it's going to do well for LSU Press.
And food studies has been a good topic for a long time at this point. You know, something that people have been. You can't really understand a culture if you don't have some idea about their food.
That's right. I mean, there's only a handful of things really in cultural studies that we use to define a culture. Of course, the first and foremost is language, a common language, and then secondly, it's sort of the combination of what do we worship and what do we fear, which are usually in the binary. You know, if you worship something, it's because you fear the opposite of that, and so we tend to have that as a second way to define a culture, and then really the third way we define a culture is what does that culture eat? What are their common foodstuffs? And
then maybe what do they wear?
What do they wear? Things like that. But foodways is clearly one of the definitive aspects of any culture. It's a huge area of academic study now and pop culture study. Think about it. I mean, just think of the shows on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Food Network, and then all of the other shows.
You've got food on 24 hours a day.
Really, and like Guy Fieri and his diners, drive-ins, and dives kind of thing, you know, this is the kind of place he would come to, right? And you experience that culture.
There's a place on the north side of Winfield. I don't know if they still have them, but they used to make meat pies. And
Oh, wow.
I would stop there and get one on the way through town. But it's, you know, you've got your chain pizza, you know, some stock stuff at most of the places. But if you look around, you'll find some where they're actually doing something interesting.
That's right, you know, and you know, I always like to stop at some place that I will call, you know, local. I'm a real fan of food trucks, and you know,
me too. Yeah.
Some tremendous cuisine from food trucks. It's about as authentic as you can get. And so if I see a food truck pulled up somewhere, chances are I'm going to slow down and look and probably stop if I'm hungry.
So a few years ago, I was in New Orleans. I had been out of the French Quarter that afternoon. I was going back in to eat. And I passed by the Second Vine wine shop, which I'd never heard of, but it was just on the way, right?
Yeah.
I had my window rolled down and I smelled, oh my gosh, what is that? And so I stopped and I walked back.
Oh yeah.
And it was across the street. This guy had one of these trailers, and I asked, "What you cooking?" And it's jerk chicken, and that was my introduction to jerk chicken. So good, but a lot of times before you find it in a restaurant, you'll find it out on the street.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, speaking of New Orleans, I mean, just one of the great gastronomical cities on the planet.
Oh yeah.
But you know, my wife and I go to New Orleans a lot. I went to school in New Orleans.
What school did you go to?
I went to Tulane.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, we love to go down there and eat, but we love the little neighborhood joints. You know, I mean, there's plenty of famous places in the quarter and elsewhere that are great. But man, the little neighborhood joints, the little mom and pop joints, the places that, you know, you don't see advertised in Southern Living, but, you know, they get great reviews on TripAdvisor, right?
Right.
From the locals. And so, you know, that's what we love to do. Find a new little neighborhood spot, you know, go try it. And, you know, New Orleans is great for that, but really anywhere all over Louisiana, there's a lot of little...
Well, this place has a new one in Kenna, so...
They do, and it's a sit-down, fine dining experience with white tablecloths and glittering gold tureens on the buffet service line. You know, unlike here, which has kind of got the repurposed Shoney's Sneeze Bar, but that works as well.
Yeah.
And ultimately they're going to, you know, as I said, their plans are to build this Indian Cultural Center here in Hammond, and so it's a very vibrant community.
Well, and then New Orleans has just pure street food. Like every time you go to one of those weekly second line parades. You know, they occur in different places, but you've got these folks that'll set up. Sometimes it's a pickup truck with a three-legged,
Right.
One of those old school barbecue.
Those
things.
old school kettle grills. Yeah, that's right. And then you got, what is it, the Yakamain experience.
Oh, yes, I was going on.
At 2 in the morning.
Right. I was going in a parade with, I think of her name in a second. It was my either first or second. We're going along. We've been going a while. And I hear Laura yells out, "Miss Linda!" And she peels out. So I work my way out of the crowd and go back. And it was Linda Green, who is the Yakamain lady.
Yeah.
And so we got the Yakamain from the source, right?
Oh, wow, absolutely. So it's more than just Lucky Dogs, right?
Yeah.
It's more than just Lucky Dogs, and
I've never had a lucky dog. I never felt that lucky.
Well, I can't say that I haven't had a Lucky Dog. I have, but once you read Confederacy of Dunces, the whole notion of the Lucky Dog changes.
All right.
But if you're really hungry in the quarter and it's really late at night and you're 18 or 19 years old, you usually end up having a Lucky Dog.
There's a book that you can't really understand the book if you don't have some knowledge of the food culture.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's so centric to New Orleans.
And, he's focused on geometry and theology.
That's
You
right.
can kind of go sit in a Catholic church and get where that's coming from because it's very geometrical, right?
Oh, absolutely. I taught that book a few years ago in one of my classes, and I've always been wanting to teach it and just had to have the right course, to teach it in. And students did respond to it really well. But it was one of those books. If you were from New Orleans, you understood it. If you had been to New Orleans a lot, you understood it. If you had never been to New Orleans, you were completely lost.
You needed somebody to
You
explain
needed
it.
a tour guide.
Yeah.
So I had to be that tour guide for the handful of students who had never been to New Orleans who were reading this book for the
Well,
first
it's
time.
one of the early places you can hear authentic New Orleans accents.
Absolutely.
The I dialect, and just read the words and sound them out, and you'll, yeah.
Absolutely. And I've also taught the moviegoer, Walker Percy's famous book set in New Orleans, novel set in New Orleans. But interestingly, and I forget who said this, but back when Walker Percy was alive, and there were negotiations to sell the movie rights to the moviegoer. And it was one of the famous Hollywood directors, and I can't remember the name now, was quoted as saying, I'd love to make this novel into a movie, but that New Orleans does not exist anymore. That was in the moviegoer. That New Orleans, that Gentilly, that area doesn't exist in that way
You
anymore.
can't make groceries at Schwagaman's.
And now I wonder if, Confederacy of Dunces is, if we've gotten to that point in New Orleans where that New Orleans that we experienced through John Kennedy Toole's work doesn't exist anymore.
I'll tell you, if you watch the reboot of Interview with the Vampire, they recreated Storyville. It
Wow.
was pretty good.
Wow, I haven't seen that, but I would like to.
I watch all the New Orleans and Louisiana
Yeah.
stuff. I feel like even the stuff I don't like.
Right.
But I like that, and it had a lot more race than the original books did. But
Right.
so does New Orleans.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And you can't escape talking about New Orleans without talking about race, without talking about gender, without talking about these things, and you can discuss those in a very apolitical way, a very historical way, a very cultural way, without engaging in political discourse. And but you can't avoid those topics because it's so rooted in the history and indeed in the experience of New Orleans. Whether you're a New Orleanian or not, just the experience of the city.
Well, the most New Orleans thing that ever happened in NCIS New Orleans.
Oh, the accents in that were horrible. They were great.
Awful.
They were horrible.
Although the one kid that, he's from Alabama and
Right,
he has Alabama.
he
Okay.
pulled it off okay.
Yeah.
But everybody else was terrible.
But Pride is talking like Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah.
But about halfway through the series, he discovers he has a black brother. which is so New Orleans.
Very New Orleans, and very even just across the South.
And he goes over to visit his brother, and he's standing on the porch and looks at him. That's my bike. His dad had taken the bike as a hand-me-down to his little brother, and so these weird moments, and I don't know how they found out about Passage or any of that.
Right.
They said, let's bring in this. It'd be pretty cool, and it was.
And it is historically accurate.
Oh yeah.
And of course, the Marigny, the Faubourg Marigny, was really founded as this little place outside the quarter where that particular thing happened. And it's interesting, but it's not unique just to New Orleans. It's across the South.
The thing about Louisiana and New Orleans especially, but all, South Louisiana they don't care who knows.
Right.
Whereas Thomas Jefferson, he wasn't going to advertise.
Right, he was not going to advertise Sally Hemings to the world. But Passage, the whole system of Passage was something that was an open secret.
Right.
In New Orleans. And indeed, in some respects, across other parts of the Deep South, anyway. And certainly something that, Faulkner, that Shirley Ann Grau, a number of our other great writers have, made a career on that.
Right.
In some respects, examining that, and it's central to a lot of their work.
It turns out our founding fathers were founding fathers.
Yeah, well, definitely. That was for sure. But the interesting thing, bringing it back to foodways, foodways is something that brings race together. It doesn't divide as much as it brings together. And
New Orleans cooking was African cooking with ingredients mixed in, but get this woman, buy her, you want her to be your cook, and so she becomes your cook. And what's she going to cook? Gumbo is an African word for okra.
Right, it is an African stew. That's right, and it's, of course, you got variations of gumbo. You got the Creole gumbo, the Cajun gumbo. You got variations, tomatoes or no tomatoes, right? I'm the no tomato guy.
Yeah, I don't put tomato. I start with the roux, which is from France.
Absolutely.
I skip the okra because I don't like the slime, but then I use filet.
Oh, the ground sassafras. Yeah, absolutely.
And so sassafras from the New World, okra is from Africa, roux is from France. Just this one dish, we've got 3 continents we've combined.
That's right. And then we've got the local, you either got chicken and sausage, or you got seafood, you're using local ingredients.
Well, you brought in these Germans to go up into Arkansas and settle, and the whole thing went bust. And folks in New Orleans said, well, just go up the river. Des Allemands,
That's right.
Laplace. And so the German coast was born along with Louisiana's sausage tradition.
That's exactly right. It was the wonderful tradition of homemade sausage.
Oh my God, yeah. And it gets added to, though, even that, because ours tends to have more spice than German sausage.
That's right. Which, if you eat a true German bratwurst, we think of it as, that's kind of bland.
Yeah, you gotta wake it up.
That's it. Put some seasoning
French
in there.
cuisine is not spicy.
French cuisine is not. No, it's not. But we've created our own, unique flavor profiles here. But food tends to transect all of the normal divisions that we have in society,
right.
Whether it is race, whether it is age, whether it is different cultural divides. And the unique thing about this little place is that you see people from all walks of life. You see, whites, African Americans, you see Asian Americans, you see Indian Americans, you see all manner of people come in here to share literally a common buffet. And that's really the beauty of this place and other places like it, is that it is an inviting and welcoming environment, which certainly speaks to Southern hospitality.
Well, and also to our food culture, that we are looking for another place to be. I will drive an hour from New Orleans to try out a new place.
Oh yeah, my wife and I went up to Learned, Mississippi, of all places, which is it's one of these places you almost can't get there from here, right?
Right.
Learned has a population of about 50 people, but there is a little old country store there that dates actually back to around the 1850s that has become a steakhouse and is now in, like, I think the 5th or 6th generation of the same family that owns it. And they have this wonderful steaks, and it is a fabulous experience just to go there. We drove 3 hours just to go there.
Sometime when you have time, and you may have been here already, Macomb.
Oh, I've been to
has
Macomb.
the Dinner Bell.
Oh, I've been to the Dinner Bell.
Of course
Oh,
you
yeah. Have it with the big circular thing in the table
Yeah,
where they put
you've
all the
got-
stuff down. Yeah.
Got circular tables and then a Lazy Susan
Right.
that you can, get those dishes around.
Oh, yeah.
What are they known for? The eggplant, fried
Eggplant, peas, ham, macaroni and cheese.
It's
all
country
the good,
cooking.
all the good stuff that sticks to your ribs kind of food.
Yeah.
That grandma used to make.
Right.
Absolutely. But yeah, I've been to the Dinner Bell. It's H.D. Gibbs and Sons is the place that learned in Mississippi, and I would highly recommend that. It's just an experience. It's
Right,
just
yeah.
a fun place to go. It's in this old country store. Again, food bringing
Well-
people together in a very unique locale.
We have lost so much tearing down the old restaurants and building McDonald's and
Right.
Burger Kings. Because
Well-
they're going to be the same everywhere.
They're ubiquitous, and it's interesting. I saw on the History Channel the other night, they have this show, The Food That Made America, right, which is a really cool show about food history. And on this, they interviewed a guy who is actually taking new Pizza Hut restaurants, buying them, and converting them back to the way Pizza Huts looked like in the 1970s with the red roofs, the buffet with the sneeze
Oh,
bar.
I saw that.
You said,
Yes.
It's like it's sort of like this retro food culture.
Yeah.
Where these millennials are wanting to experience what we did as kids.
Well, in my older son's Sunday, we would go eat the pizza buffet.
Oh, yeah.
One of those, and that's how it looked.
Exactly,
So they're
and he's
40 years
actually
old, and they-
recreating this for an entirely new generation of food consumers. But yeah, the Foodways is just a way to really bring people together, and I think it's something that at its core does not divide people.
Right.
It really brings people together, and I think that's why Foodways scholarship is so important as well, because it's a cultural studies scholarship that I
Yeah.
think seeks to unite people rather than divide people.
Even something that's really kind of foreign to us will suddenly become familiar, like The Awakening by Kate Chopin, which is, from another era that
Right.
New Orleans does not exist anymore. But her husband comes home, they've got a cook who's not a very good cook. And he's trying the soup isn't good. So he dumps some cayenne in it to see if that'll help, and it doesn't help. I really understood the dad.
We understand that because we've all been there.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
We sort of take a little Tony's or a little cayenne or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and we just sprinkle a little bit on that to perk it up a little bit, right?
Maybe it'll help.
That's right. Can't hurt. Maybe it'll help. We
Right.
do that, and
Kill the taste some.
so yeah, we've all been there, done that, and if you look back at a lot of classic works, food plays an integral part, and maybe in scholarship of days gone by, researchers and scholars didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to the food aspect of novels and
They
short
took
stories.
it for granted.
But now they're starting to pay attention to it, and I think that's critical to show how food has always been an integral part of defining various cultures.
Well, you think about stuff bringing folks together. I know my mom's last several years, she was going blind, so she didn't feel comfortable trying to make a recipe. And so I was living there my last few years at Tech. The rest of my family was down here. And I would come in about 5, would start chopping stuff. And she could still chop, and still cook. She just felt a little nervous about reading a recipe. So that gave us time in the kitchen to just chat about stuff.
Right.
And she told me stories she never would have told me if I hadn't been there, standing there beside her.
Right. Well, it's interesting. One thing that I always like to look at when I get a chance, and I've got a collection of them, primarily from family members, but are old church cookbooks.
Yes.
You know, there used to be these publishing houses, big old Baptist churches, right? Small
Yeah.
Baptist churches. You know, the WMU or the
Right.
Women's Missionary Union or one of the church groups would have this little fundraiser. They would sell a church cookbook. And so all the ladies in the church would submit some recipes and they would compile them and they'd be all typed up. And then you buy the church cookbook for $10 or $15 or whatever it was. And I've got a number of those.
Oh yeah, those are
Dating back,
valuable.
and sometimes it tell a little story with it,
Mhm.
you know, and it might couple it with a Bible verse or something else, but you can really understand what this, even if you didn't grow up in that town
Right.
or in that part of Louisiana or even the South, you can understand what it's about by reading that. You understand that culture and experience it through those recipes, through those stories. And it brings me to another point, sort of a weird Facebook debate that happened. A friend of mine, who's a school teacher up in North Louisiana, just posted on Facebook. He loves to cook, like me, like you. We love to cook and eat. He had a bunch of recipes, and he was asking, well, what's the best way to, you know, store all of my recipes, you know, where I can, you know, including family recipes where I have easy access to. Well, me, I just jumped in and I said, well, you know, if you could feed it all into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT would organize it for you, and then you could ask it. Then you could ask it for, you know, if I want something that has this ingredient or that ingredient, or if you look in your pantry and say, I have these 10 ingredients, ask ChatGPT, look in my recipe bank, what can I make from that? I said, make your life so much easier, right? Woo, boy. About 30 seconds after I posted that, so another one of my friends
That was a mistake.
jumped on there and said, oh no, all family recipes must be handwritten,
Right.
okay? Not typed, handwritten.
So I'm putting them on my cooking blog.
Right, and so, and I get that because we've still got some of my grandma's recipes that she hand wrote, and you know, not on index cards, but just hand wrote on a loose leaf sheet of paper, and we've still got some of those.
My grandmother, Mother Spell, we called her, like Mother Goose. She was a famous cook, and as she got older, when she went blind, she still cooked ginger snaps.
Oh, yeah.
Gingerbread snaps, just real thin. And so a few years after she died, my aunts were hanging out together, and my mom was in her kitchen back in Ruston. They called her up, Vivian, do you know Mother Spell's recipe for ginger snaps? We were wanting to make some, but nobody knows the recipe. My mom said, oh, I've got it right here. And they said, well, how do you have it? It's in the 1988 Salem Baptist Church cookbook.
Right.
So, you know, that's a recipe that would have been lost without the Salem Baptist Church cookbook.
Exactly. And you know, my grandmother, my mother's mother, who was a fabulous cook, never wrote anything down. She,
No.
you know, she learned
Probably
to
didn't
cook.
even have measurements.
Oh, she didn't. It was just a handful of this and a pinch of that, and all of that kind of cooking, and everything she made was incredible. And one time, my Aunt Shirley, my mother's baby sister, followed Grandma around the kitchen and tried to write it down. You know, and she finally got frustrated because Grandma was moving so fast. She would throw a handful of this in and a handful of that, and she couldn't get the ingredients down because nobody could make the homemade bread and yeast rolls like my grandma used to.
Right.
I mean, they just were perfect in every way. And my mother tried, and hers were great, but they weren't like Grandma's.
Right.
My Aunt Shirley did it. They were great, but they weren't like Grandma's. And so that kind of thing has kind of been lost. We know that we know what she used. We know the order she put stuff in, but it just never tasted just like hers, you know?
There is an art, like brew. I start with a quarter cup of grease and a quarter cup of flour, but then based on the consistency of the roux as I'm stirring it, I may need a little more grease or I may need a little more flour until it balances out and looks right.
That's right.
Just do it till it looks right. That's not a...
That's the thing. It's all color and it's texture and, like, you know, do you want a light roux?
Consistency.
Do you want a blonde roux? Do you want a dark roux? Do you want a medium roux? And yeah, and you know, and all it takes is burning a roux one time to realize you went too far.
I have scorched a roux before. It was my very first roux, and the bulk of it made a big ball in the pan, and then what was left scorched. So I picked the ball out carefully because it tasted great. It was not scorched, and I threw it in and kind of got it to.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
Oh, I'm telling you.
The introduction to roux is supposed to be a disaster.
There is an art to making roux, which is why Savoy's, sells some pretty good stuff in the jar, I must admit. And in a pinch, I have used Savoy's jarred roux, and it's pretty good stuff. It comes out perfect every time.
I've gotten to where I get the garlic, the chopped garlic in the thing, keep it in the fridge. It's just too much work to do the garlic.
Oh, it is. We use the minced and the chopped garlic in the fridge.
Yeah.
It's way easier. I mean, there are certain convenience things that are
But the
good.
Trinity is so expensive chopped. I just go ahead and...
Oh, yeah, we do that ourselves, and we get, a lot of it out of the garden, Go over
I
to
got
garden
this
farm. So.
chopper for the onion because that's what takes the longest.
Oh, yeah.
Just push it down and it comes out mostly.
Oh, yeah.
right.
A friend of mine had a stainless steel one like that because he used to do a lot of jambalayas.
Mm-hmm.
And so, man, he could just put an onion in there, pow, boom, and that thing would pop out of there. He could chop a whole bag of onions, in the time that I could chop one.
Right.
And but those things, I don't have one of those, but those are cool.
It's
Do you have a
pretty cool.
pea sheller then?
No, I don't have a pea shell. I just buy them shelled.
Yeah, this is my pea sheller.
Yeah, right. Well, that was me growing up. At Mother Spell's house, she had one son, 5 daughters. And if everybody's around in the summer, what you do in the evening is get
That's right.
pans and you shell stuff like butter. I hate butter.
Oh, butterbean's hard to shell. We used to do purple
They're
hull peas.
hard
all
to
the time.
shell.
And of course, you do purple hull peas, your fingers turn purple.
Right, yeah.
But that was the whole thing of, some of my fondest childhood memories, interestingly, all surround food or food preparation. At my Aunt Minnie's house, they had my dad's baby sister, they had a big farm and a lot of purple hull peas. And so we would always go over there in the summer, me and my cousins, my Uncle Bud, my Aunt Minnie, my mom and dad, my papa, and we'd sit on Aunt Minnie's big front porch.
Oh, yeah.
With the big wash tubs full of purple hull peas and shell them, as kids. And then a lot of times we would, in the summer, make homemade ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
All of us as
You get
cousins
the medium kid to sit on it.
would
and the
take
big kids
turns.
to turn
And this
it.
was not an electric churn.
Uh-uh.
This was the old hand crank churn. And we'd have to hand crank it till it was done. And then
Oh, yeah.
sitting on my papa's porch, spitting watermelon seeds out in the flower bed, And
My grandmother, they had a dairy, and so they grew corn to feed the cows, but
Yeah.
they also would eat some themselves. And so there would be a big trailer with just ears of corn, and so we would be out there shelling, and however long you got, that's how long.
that's
you
right,
could
shucking
shuck that
corn. And then I remember as a little kid, you'd shuck corn, you get one of those big old corn worms. You pull those tassels off, and you'd pull the shuck down and be a ginormous corn worm in there. But I remember my papa, he would go out to the garden, he'd cut off a watermelon, bring it straight up the front porch.
Oh, yeah.
And cut into it, and we'd sit there and eat watermelon and spit the watermelon seeds into the flower bed.
My aunt, she lives out in the country too. There was a swimming hole, spring-fed creek.
Oh, and it was cold down in there. It was cold in those swimming holes.
Cool off. So we would go, and then she'd bring the watermelon, put it in the creek.
Yeah.
To cool off.
Yeah.
And after we finished swimming, we'd have that cold watermelon.
And nothing was sweeter than that watermelon on a hot July afternoon,
Well, there's another international food started in Africa 10,000 years ago, and slowly over the centuries got modified to be sweet. At first it was just a way to carry water. And, well, it may as well be sweet too. Now I use that instead of Gatorade.
Oh yeah, well, I've eaten my weight in watermelons over my lifetime for sure. Then now because you got the yellow meat watermelons, you got all kinds of varieties,
But nowadays they don't. Most of them have the big seeds anymore. They got the little ones.
The little ones are the seedless ones, which have almost no seeds at all, and then little bitty white ones that can be in there.
I go ahead and eat them.
I eat them
fiber's
too.
good for
Yeah, I
you.
eat them too.
I didn't eat the black ones.
And then there's the debate: salt or no salt on your watermelon.
I used to do salt, and I can see, like, if you've been out working and you're salt depleted.
That's true. That's true.
Did y'all ever have the seed fight?
Oh yeah, all the time. But I fall in the no salt category.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
put salt on
don't-
mine.
Some people do. They salt every watermelon. It's like, no, I don't want salt.
Salt apple,
Nope.
but some people do.
Some people do, and I don't do that. I don't put salt on any fruit.
Yeah, Rachel
Not
one day
that I
thought she
remember.
was putting sugar on something and put a little bit of salt on there, and I was, oh, I'm so sorry. Kind of tastes like it always
Yeah.
did, you
A
know.
lot of it, salt.
Reminds me of when I was 10.
They put salt on cantaloupes and stuff, but I don't even put salt on cantaloupe. But I generally don't salt at the table to start with. My parents didn't either, so that's probably where I picked it up.
The modern diet has so much salt in it.
Right.
You know, we don't really need to add it to fruit, but
No.
you know, in the old days, you know, where they lived, they had to put on a salt lick for the cows.
Right.
You know, they would use the same salt for themselves that they use for the cows.
Oh, sure.
Have that
Absolutely.
cow salt on the table.
Absolutely.
It's salt.
Salt is salt in some respects. That's right. But yeah, I mean, it's just food just brings us together. And I mean, if you think about it, you talk to most of your friends, whether they're old or young, you know, they're going to have stories from childhood, and virtually every one of those stories is going to revolve in some way around the food stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
or a food experience, or an eating experience, or a cooking experience, or being in grandmother's kitchen, or remembering the smells of grandma's food, or a Thanksgiving or a Christmas, you know, dinner. So it's just amazing that our memories are so complete with a memory of food. And you know, our
What kind of
cultural.
food did you grow up with?
I grew up with country food in North Louisiana.
Country.
Very country food. You know?
Where were you?
I grew up in Florine, Louisiana.
Lorraine.
Sabine Parish.
That's country.
That's country. And you know, so
But don't they have the watermelons?
we grew watermelons up there. Yeah, I mean, it's not.
I mean the famous watermelons.
Oh, that's near Sugartown. That's in Beauregard Parish, outside of DeRidder.
Okay.
There's the Sugartown watermelons. And they're very famous as a super sweet melon. And they would sell Sugartown watermelons up in southern Sabine Parish, of course. Ate a lot of them growing up. But my papa always planted a whole row of watermelons in his garden.
Oh yeah.
And so we always got watermelons from him, you know. And he would plant different varieties, you know.
My grandmother accidentally planted pumpkins next to gourds one time, and the vines intertwined and came up with a new thing.
Wow, that's cool.
She kept the seeds and kept growing those weird-looking
Weird-looking.
pumpkin gourds.
That's funny. But yeah, I grew up on just good old country food. My mother was a good cook. My dad could not boil water. You know, he did not cook at all. So my mother was 100% of the cooking in the
My
house.
dad, you had to make his mom's red gravy, tomato gravy,
Yeah.
which he couldn't make a sandwich. And the first step is you mix some grease with, you know, chicken grease usually with flour.
Yeah.
So it started with a roux, and I'm like, how in the world did they get roux up there in Collins, Mississippi?
Yeah,
It's not
I
that
don't-
far from Louisiana.
It's not that far,
And,
but
you know, I made chip Creole a while back, and I was eating it, and this is real familiar. This really tastes like something. And then popped into my mind, oh, it's tomato gravy.
yeah.
You know, it's the same stuff, except, you know, mine had the Trinity and
Right,
shrimp,
right,
but
right.
you take all that out, and you've got Granny Gee's tomato gravy.
That's right. You got the base right there.
Yeah, and it's pretty amazing.
You know, I mean, Mom made, you know, we had, I don't want to say we had any kind of exotic food. I mean, Mom cooked pretty basic stuff. We ate basic stuff growing up. Now, interestingly, I graduated from high school in 1984. I had never eaten a crawfish until I went to college in Tulane.
Yeah, we didn't eat it
Because
until it
crawfish
came to
did
fat.
not, was not a food item.
Not in North Louisiana.
Not in North Louisiana. And so we didn't have crawfish balls. And now, of course, now it's ubiquitous even across North Louisiana. But not even just 40-something years ago, there were no crawfish balls
I
in North
moved to
Louisiana.
South Louisiana in 1980. I moved back to Ruston in 1992, and by that time, this crawfish culture had taken over,
It
which
had.
is good for me because I love crawfish.
I love crawfish too, but it was interesting. You know,
I had to learn to eat them.
I remember going to my first crawfish boil about my first week with Tulane, and I'm like, how do you peel this thing?
Yeah, right.
Like, I need a lesson, right? Because I had never done it. I mean,
So my first wife's family's from Kenner, and they could eat the heck out of the crawfish, the shrimp,
oh yeah,
the crabs, and I'm starving to death trying to shell this stuff. Then one day they come up with a bunch of little brim, and you know it's got the backbone in it. That was my time to shine.
I know how to do that, buddy.
I can get the meat off the brim.
Cut it, dehead it, and fry.
But well, the way they made it was just, they took the head off and the fins off. And
Oh yeah.
just
Oh no,
fried
I eat the fins. The fins are like potato chips. They're crispy, fried. Oh man,
I did not know
they're
that.
awesome. But yeah, we would pond fish growing up, and so we'd catch a lot of brim and catfish and perch and stuff. And you know, you get for the perch and the brim. I mean, you just dehead them and gut them, and
Got them and fry them.
then just fry them. And man, they were awesome.
But you
know,
had to know how to get the meat off the bone.
Oh yeah, 'cause you got all the little old pin bones in there. That's right, but that white meat, oh, it's so sweet, so tasty. You know, and love those kind of fish fries. You know.
Well, you have a fish camp, don't you?
I do. I got a camp down in Quinnipiac, and actually was there the past few days. I'm headed back there now. When
What
we finish
kind of
this.
water is it? Is it brackish
Well, it's
or
salt
fresh?
water. It's salt water.
So what do you fish for?
Redfish, speckled trout, you know, primarily. I mean, there are some flounder that will come in, but Quinnipiac's known mostly for redfish and speckled trout a few times a year. They come in. Redfish year round.
Up where I am, people have camps at Darbone and
Oh,
Claver.
Lake Darbone, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of people at Toledo Bend have camps, and we grew up just a few miles from Toledo Bend, and a lot of my friends have camps there still. And it's become a tourist mecca now. Back then, it was not, you know. But
Well,
it
they've
is
got the
now.
Reds over there.
Oh yeah.
Thomas Perry, I don't know if you know.
Oh, I know
I
Tom.
think is he?
He's at Southeastern with me. He's in my department. Yeah, he grew up in Ebar, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, in northern Sabine Parish. Yeah, he is part of the Ebar Choctaw Nation.
Yeah.
I believe he's
I'm a
Choctaw.
little bit Choctaw, but you can tell not a whole lot.
But yeah, I know Tommy real well. Great professor at Southeastern. Everybody
Good.
loves him.
Well, Kurt, how long have we been going?
38 minutes, 15
I
seconds.
think that's about good.
All right.
Did
well,
we forget to talk about anything?
I don't think so. I mean, we covered the bases, man. Well,
Right.
look, I appreciate you
Well, thank
interviewing
you
me
so
on
much
the
for meeting us. This
anthology
is great.
again, and you know, encourage everybody go get a copy of Get It While It's Hot.
Yeah.
Available through
It's
the LSU
good.
Press online.
I've read 2 chapters already.
Yeah, it's available online, LSU Press. It's now in paperback as well, and you know, tell your local library to order a copy and put it on their list so everybody can have access to it.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Bruce.